Right now, the National Weather Desk, hailstorm havoc. Heavy hail pounds western New York. A reported tornado touches down outside of a busy airport, and people are adding up the damage from a series of storms.
I've never seen anything like it.
Dangerous heat is still gripping the U.S. When will it finally let up?
With feels like temperatures from 108 to 112.
And what you can do to help your garden grow in the relentless heat.
Feeding is really important in the heat.
We'll help you better understand the dog days of summer.
Nothing to do with dogs, but more with astronomy.
And weather class in session with our latest installment of social media-rology.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. A powerful line of storms moved across the Midwest yesterday. There are multiple reports. It was a derecho, a widespread, long-lived windstorm. We're waiting to hear what the National Weather Service has to say, but no matter what it's called, the impact was significant. Passengers crowded into Chicago O'Hare after a tornado appeared to touch down right outside the terminal. More than 60 flights were canceled, with another 400 delayed. People who were sitting in the plane said the strong winds rocked the jets back and forth. Outside the airport, there was plenty of damage across the Chicago region. You can hear it there. Massive hailstones fell across western New York State. Rochester meteorologist Mark McLean says he has not seen hail like this in 25 years. There were also strong winds that took down power lines, creating some very dangerous conditions. Stephanie Joseph is near Rochester with more.
Severe weather causing destruction on this stretch of Eastern Boulevard in Canandaigua. Several power lines near Rite Aid fell, leading to a tangle of wires all over the street.
I've never seen anything like it.
Michael Smith's wife was picking up medicine when the power lines came down and she couldn't exit the store.
I was able to get down to her, and then we walked out with a couple other people who called people to come get them.
Another man who was at Abbott's nearby also waiting to leave.
I'm on a vacation here for my first day, and I'm staying about 5 miles up on by the lake, but I'm not going to see that lake very soon. I did help the Abbott's people try and save some of their ice creams by going to a freezer that was still working.
He was unable to cross the wires at the request of fire crews and had to speak over the phone. Others were trapped inside their cars for a time.
There's a couple of vehicles that when the poles came down, the wires obviously fell on top of their vehicles, trapping them. They're smart enough to obviously stay in the car. Nobody was injured.
And strong winds also blew through eastern Iowa, sparking several tornado warnings. Trees were knocked down across the region. Here is a garage that was blown off its foundation. The wind also bent a goalpost at a local high school football field right here. The heavy rain also flooded some neighborhoods. This man said it happened so very quickly.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just got crazy and almost derecho-like. Saw the branches flying out of this tree real quick, and I got pretty insane real quick.
While the storms were intense, there are no reports of serious injuries or even deaths. In Maryland, lightning struck a house near Washington, D.C., setting it on fire. Everyone was able to make it out safely. In the city, several large trees either snapped or ripped right out of the ground. At least 10 homes are damaged, along with a few cars as well. And all those storms took a toll on power across the country. Nearly 400,000 customers are without power in Illinois and also Indiana. Tens of thousands are without power in the yellow states as well. We don't want to forget about Texas here, where more than 140,000 customers are still without power more than a week after Hurricane Beryl. And there's a threat of more severe storms today in the east, including Washington, much of the I-95 corridor, along with most of Pennsylvania and New York. There's also a risk in the plains from Nebraska to the Oklahoma Panhandle. And now to the dangerous heat that continues to bake the nation. 162 million people are under heat advisories today. Washington, D.C. hit a record of 102 degrees yesterday. Going to hit that mark again today. Meteorologist Megan Donahue has the forecast.
More dangerous heat out there today, especially in the Central Plains, stretching back down into Texas. Look at the triple digits in Amarillo, Dallas, even high temperatures near 100 in Little Rock, and on the East Coast from Washington, D.C. down into Raleigh, even Charleston seeing high temperatures around 100 today. That hot high pressure continues its grip on this southern and southeastern half of the country, all the way up into the northeast as well today with that dangerous heat. We have heat alerts for a lot of folks here right on through Little Rock and Memphis with feels like temperatures from 108 to 112. Same goes for the East Coast this afternoon. I'm meteorologist Megan Danahay for the National Weather Desk.
Well, the extreme heat often feels hotter in major cities. It's called the urban heat island effect. Meteorologist Arena Plunkett takes a closer look at urban heat islands and solutions to curb temperatures in big cities.
You don't have to live on an island to feel the heat. Most Americans just need to go outside. Buildings, asphalt, concretes, and blacktops all absorb and store heat. Combine that with city slickers using cars and energy, and it's not hard to see how urban heat islands are created. Much like the sand on the beach, stored solar energy causes steeper nighttime lows and sometimes dramatic daytime highs. According to the Desert Research Institute, since the 1970s, Reno's annual average temperature has increased by a whopping 7.6 degrees, which makes it the fastest warming city in the nation. Assistant Research Professor of Climatology John Mejia has been studying and plans on mapping Reno's developing urban heat island. He says the arid and semi-arid climate in northern Nevada exposes the city to high solar heat. The more solar heat, the more AC we use, thus enhancing the heat. It continues heating up because we all want to experience temperature comfort. With the ongoing heat wave placing nearly half of the U.S. under heat-related warnings, he says human behavior and urban growth is only making it hotter. According to Mejia, those that lived in heavily urbanized, low-income and low-elevation areas are often some of the most vulnerable members. But research suggests that there are always ways to beat the heat, but it starts with proper city planning. By approving plans to space out buildings, heat is more evenly dispersed. More space creates more circulation. Additionally, by sandwiching green spaces between buildings, plants, and trees, do all the hard work of sending back water into the atmosphere, which, in turn, cools things down. One thing is for sure, though, without proper urban development and more people flocking to the cities, expect city life to heat up.
And when it comes to the heat, your backyard garden can take a major hit, but there are steps you can take to help keep things green throughout the hot and humid summer months. Meteorologist Ryan Munn has more.
Keeping a healthy garden during this summer requires extra attention. You'll need to make sure that you are not only watering, but also feeding in this type of heat and humidity.
A liquid fertilizer that promotes bloom boosting to replenish those buds and those flowers that might be a little extra stressed with the heat. They need those extra nutrients to kind of flush out more flowers and replenish after that.
If your garden consists of any container plants or pots with annuals, it's even more important as those can dry out even faster.
When it's hot and sunny, which they love, they just need a little more attention. They need more water, they need more care, more food especially. So feeding is really important in the heat because with the amount that you're watering them, you're just leaching out all of the nutrients every time you water. So you got to replenish.
And it's best not to water during the heat of the day. The earlier you do it, the better.
When it's humid like this, the plants aren't absorbing as much moisture because there's not as much transpiration happening in the leaves.
Ray said it's important to water the base of the plants every day when it's this hot and avoid the leaves as much as possible.
Another issue you'll need to watch out for is the potential for diseases when the heat and humidity start to soar.
The most common one you'll see, like I said, was a powdery mildew. You'll notice this kind of white fuzziness on the tops of your leaves. It's really common in vegetables like zucchini and cucumbers. You'll see it this time of year.
And it's day 2 of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. And unlike yesterday, today's weather forecast is fantastic. Convention attendees can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 78 degrees. And check this out right here. Scientists discovered what may be the deepest underground cave on the moon. The discovery came as NASA commemorates the 55th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing this week. Researchers say NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter revealed that there's an entrance to the cave about 330 feet wide, and it could be the site for a future moon base. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll give you an inside look at how officials monitor the weather for sporting events, and we'll show you how extreme heat can impact your pets.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. It's another hot and humid day in the Northeast today with highs in the low to mid 90s. We'll see a lot of hazy sunshine. Let's take a look at that sun going to work during the course of the day. This takes us to about lunchtime. I want to focus in on this line of showers and storms developing over Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. That will be moving into New York during the evening hours. And some of these may become strong to severe, even down to northern Pennsylvania and also into New Jersey. That line will weaken as it moves into New England.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We are looking at a better chance for some showers and storms to come on Wednesday, but your Tuesday will have a few rolling through the area in your afternoon. But again, Wednesday is going to be the best chance with a front approaching the area, which will help cool things down. Before then, get ready for more near triple-digit temperatures as we move into your Tuesday afternoon. The heat indices will be between 105 and 110. Looks like Wednesday, upper 90s for highs. Will cool down on Thursday.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Good morning. We have 90s across the board today for your afternoon high temperatures. Little Rock and Memphis are warm spots in the upper 90s, up there with Raleigh as well. Asheville is our cool spot in the mid 80s, but we don't count them. They're in the mountains. So hour by hour forecasts, we have showers and storms developing around midday today. We'll also see sea breeze showers develop for the Florida Peninsula starting around midday as well. Most of those showers will fizzle out overnight heading into your Wednesday. A few more showers then.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
We are knee-deep into the dog days of summer. Yes, it's downright hot, but does that have anything to do at all with dogs? Meteorologist Jeff Exline explains.
Well, you probably heard of the dog days of summer. There goes my dog Galway right there. Now, the dog days of summer correspond to typically what is the hottest time of the year. Here, Galls. Now, the dog days of summer really have nothing to do with dogs, but more with astronomy. You see, the ancient Romans loved to look at the sky and watch the sky, and they noticed that the dog star Sirius, well, it would be rising and setting with the sun in the summertime, corresponding to this time of the year here in July and early August. Well, they thought that that star was giving off extra heat, and that's why it was warm, because it was very bright in the sky. But they were barking up the wrong tree, as we all know. The real reason is we are tilted, the Earth is, at least in the northern hemisphere, is tilted 23.5 degrees. That's why we have our seasons, and we're tilted towards the sun in the summertime. That is why it's hot in July and August. It has nothing to do with the star in the sky or dogs.
So now you know about the dog days of summer, but have you ever heard of a sun dog? Meteorologist Teresa Carter explains what they are and how they form.
Have you seen this atmospheric display? A bright light in the sky on either side of the sun. Sometimes you just see bright spots, and sometimes you can actually see an arc or even a halo around the sun. These are all related to sundogs. Sundogs are formed when light passes through hexagonal plate crystals of ice in cirrus or cirrostratus clouds at altitudes of around 20,000 to 40,000 feet. The refractions are located about 22 degrees to the right, left, or on both sides of the sun, and can appear like a rainbow with red closest to the sun and blue to the outside. Some, however, may simply appear white. Because sundogs are more common when the sun is close to the horizon, the best time to look for these are just after sunrise or before sunset.
And it's not just the sun that can create beautiful sights in the sky. We have all seen rainbows, but meteorologist Matt Monroe introduces us to moonbows.
This is so cool. Everybody's seen a rainbow, but how about a moonbow? We've got a great one here, and actually, there's the primary bow, there's a secondary bow, so it's a double moonbow. We also call these lunar bows. It was sent in by Therese Shaw, and again, these form the same way as rainbows, but it's at night, of course, as opposed to the day, and it's moonlight coming through, not sunlight. So you got the moonlight coming through. It comes through the teeny tiny water droplets in the high-level clouds. The light is refracted into the visible light spectrum there for the primary bow and there for the secondary bow. Super cool stuff. This was taken in the valleys of western Nevada, a moonbow, also called a lunar bow.
And now time for a segment we call Social Media-rology, where we show you a sample of what our team of meteorologists across the country are posting on social media. We begin with Katie Morgan and a look at how extreme heat can impact your pets.
Hi, do you have a dog? Couple facts for you here when you take them out on walks on these hot summer days.
Walking your dog in 90-degree heat can be a lot for your little pup. On their paws, the grass can feel up to 105 degrees.
Compare that to concrete, where the temperature can get up to 125 degrees, and on blacktop, it can feel up to 140 degrees. 1 minute on 140-degree blacktop can burn their paws or your bare feet.
So remember, if it is too hot for you to be walking with bare feet, it's too hot for them.
But when severe weather is in the forecast and you get the potential for damaging wind gusts, if you don't know what that is, and you've never seen damage from winds like that, you need to take the warning seriously. What happens in the atmosphere is you have high winds aloft, and in the storm itself, downdrafts can bring those high winds down to the surface, and that's when you can find tree branch damage, trees uprooted, and even power outages. I'm going to demonstrate this for you now with this leaf blower representing the high winds aloft, and I'm going to tilt down the leaf blower at the surface to show you what happens when the downdraft brings those winds down to the ground. Check this out.
So the drought monitor is taken from Tuesday in any particular week at 7 a.m. to the following Tuesday just before 7 a.m. You see the yellow, that's D0 or abnormally dry conditions, and then exceptional, that's the dark maroon shade, that's D5. So what does that mean? Abnormally dry conditions does not mean you're in a drought, but it looks like the drought may occur. Exceptionally dry conditions means this is one of the driest periods on record for your area. Soil moisture, precipitation, stream flows, vegetation, and kind of taking into account how that looks compared to years past. It could be a 30, 60, 90-day period or in history. And they kind of take that information and put together your drought monitor.
To see more content like this, be sure to follow us on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk on your preferred platform or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And when it comes to sports and the weather, do you know what tools officials use to determine if an event should be delayed or even canceled because of severe or even dangerous weather? Kayla McGee takes us for an inside look at how those decisions are made.
One of the main goals an athletic trainer has is preventing injuries from happening in the first place. When it comes to preventing injuries, it takes a lot more than just good stretching. They're constantly looking at the weather to make sure the conditions are safe to play in.
Health and safety is the number one most important thing, and we can't make a mistake and let someone get struck by lightning. So we're constantly monitoring the weather all week. We meet twice a week with our administration to see if we can move a game up, move a game back, so that we can avoid those weather situations.
To help them be better prepared, the athletic training staff at Truman State University reached out to KTVO meteorologist Matt Gunn to help educate them. During his time at the university, Matt talked about the best ways to keep tabs on incoming storms. He highlighted that it's important to be prepared so the schools can get information out as soon as possible to anyone attending.
To give you an idea where the forecast may be going and where it will end up on the day of that sporting event, I think it's really important to give the players, the coaches, the fans a lot of timing or a lot of extra timing to know that the game may be delayed, may be canceled, or it may be postponed due to weather.
Major weather events like tornadoes is always a concern for the school, but something as simple as lightning could be a factor. The school takes all the safety precautions they can to make sure that if there is lightning in the area to clear the field. The decision to move or cancel a game is a difficult one for the athletic trainers, but an important one to make sure everyone attending is safe.
So I'm responsible not only for the health and safety of our student athletes, but if we would have a game, a competition, my responsibility is for the fans, the coaches, the umpires, anybody who would be in attendance at the game. And so if we would have severe weather, we need to know ahead of time and have a plan for how we're going to protect all those people.
Time now for a short break, but first we soar over Colonial Beach in Virginia.
Well, a very good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the Midwest for the day today. A little cooler across the north here with highs in the lower 80s. Still pretty warm and hot down to the south, mid-90s there to the far south. The storms continue pushing their way to the south as cooler air and drier air moves in as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Looks great for almost all of the Midwest, staying dry on Thursday with lower humidity and temperatures a little cooler.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're starting off into the mid to upper 70s and 80s out here from Oklahoma back over into Dallas. Normally you see that much further down to the south, and it's there. It's a little bit of a humid start for the day. We'll be watching a weak cold front as it makes its way southward. That will set up a little bit of rain and maybe a little break later on in the week. Otherwise, look for another hot summer day. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a happy Tuesday to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Summer goes on here mid-July over the western U.S. You can tell San Francisco's on the cool end of things with 67 and fog in the city by the Bay versus 102 out of Boise and 110 in Phoenix. Thunderstorms eventually blowing up over the Four Corners region today, courtesy of some monsoonal moisture. High pressure rolls for another afternoon in the Pacific Northwest. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Clouds can tell you a lot about what's happening in the atmosphere. Meteorologist Evan Chickvera explains what it can mean when you see cumulus clouds.
We always talk about looking up, and our GMA photo of the day focuses on that. This is from Mike Webb. If you look at this cloud, this is gorgeous, by the way. Towering cumulus or cumulonimbus, and at the top we got a little lenticular cloud, it looks like, as well. If you ever want to do like amateur forecasting, go outside, look. If you see vertical growth in the clouds, it's a good bet we have instability. On the flip side, when you see something like this, where the clouds are more horizontal in nature, I took this yesterday. This means we have air aloft that is sinking towards the surface, meaning as our air rises, it gets to a point of equilibrium or where it's balanced and it stops. We don't have vertical growth, meaning our atmosphere is stable. And when you see clouds like this, it's likely that we won't have any afternoon storm.
Well, the photo of those clouds was sent to Evan by a viewer. We want to share your weather content on air. All you need to do is upload to your favorite social media platforms and tag @NatWXDesk or use the hashtag WildWeather. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Tuesday, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.